Y'all check this out. We are here at Dollywood. It is February. It is. But it's short sleeve, so it's a nice, beautiful day out here. But guess what? Dollywood is closed. They have invited us out. Us as in us, hang with the crazy crew, and Adventures at Rock and Sandy. You know they're going to be here for a construction tour of what's going on here and around Dollywood. Now there's some amazing things going on. A lot of things, we've heard about the Emporium being redone. We've heard about the tunnel missing. Victoria's Pizza being remodeled. We've heard a lot of things. So we get to walk around the park and check some of this out. Not sure what we're going to see, but we got a lot of information. And also I think they're going to feed us lunch. Isn't that right?
I heard.
That's what we heard. So I'm looking forward to that. So before we get started, y'all need, if you're not already, go check out Adventures at Rock. There's a reason they call it Adventures at Rock. They are on some amazing adventures.
And that's Rock.
Yeah, and that's Rock, and that's Sandy. Let's get that straight now. So, head on down. In the description is a link to their channel, so be sure to click on that and check out some amazing Adventures at Rock. But while you're down there, if you're not subscribed to me, hey, please hit mine too. Ring that bell notification. We're going to have some amazing stuff coming out of Dollywood and a lot of other places. So, let's get on with this tour and see what they got going on.
Cars stacked out on Beverage. I'd have people call me, what's going on out from Dollywood? They're like, I'm just trying to get the car.
So we're going to start a Dollywood tour, construction tour out over here at the parking where they're completely redoing the parking. As you see, the tow booths have been moved and even adding a couple new ones in here. Let's check all this out. As you see, the tow booths have been moved and there's actually a few new ones.
As you can see, there's a little bit of work going on here as you enter into our parking lot area, and that's really across the whole parking complex. So I have notes here because there's so much that's going on. So if you've been here before, you can tell the parking toll booths have moved a little bit. So we've moved the parking toll booths down to here. That's going to give us about 40% more stacking space, so it'll allow us to be able to pull more traffic off the veterans and into this area as folks are coming to enter the park. You see two new toll booths that are being added in addition to the ones we had before. That will allow us 4 extra operators, which will be able to give us 1,600 cars per hour coming through here. So we're going to be able to bring that part more efficient, bringing people into the park. On top of that, as we get into the park, it's not going to be as noticeable now, but you will see that we will be traveling on what are now the guest traffic lanes. They were the former tram lanes, and the former guest entry traffic lanes are now the tram lanes, so they have swapped. So what that has allowed us to do is to create a more efficient and safe entry because we no longer have any tram or trolleys crossing with our guest traffic. It will also be a single circuit, so you'll come in, you'll loop all the way to the front and back out. So that will prevent anyone who maybe needs to come out of parking and turn left to go up to the front gate area to maybe pick someone up. That will be eliminated. So you won't have people that will be trying to turn and go against traffic. And that one-way circuit also prevents two-way traffic. It will all be one way all the way around, making it much more efficient to come into the parking lots and go all the way out and leave. So you've seen all the projects we have going on. This is probably the largest in scope, but I want to ask you, Gene, it seems pretty daunting, but can you tell us why this is one that you wanted to undertake and do now?
You think a lot about when you invite your friends over to your house, and the arrival experience is not such a friendly thing to go through. It's probably one of the most painful things that I saw since arriving on the park in 2019 at our peak attendance during our Christmas season, where it wasn't very unusual for traffic to be backed up 3 miles to make that left-hand turn off of Veterans into here because we just didn't have the right capacity. Honestly, we couldn't do enough transactions in a minute to be able to handle that flow. So we invited a traffic engineer group that helps the state of Tennessee quite a bit in their planning of their road system to come in and reimagine the experience in the parking lot to make it a lot more efficient. We've streamlined what we think is one of the most important segments of our business, and that's the people that are staying on our hospitality. You've heard me talk a lot about our future and that being a big part of how we're going to be moving our attendance forward. Well, the guests that are visiting on hospitality will now have half the amount of time on the trolley to get to our front door than they had in previous years, which we think is a really huge benefit. And like everything that we do, there's not an open checkbook to just spend freely. So oftentimes you'll hear me talk about phases, but that's the beautiful part about a 10-year plan is you can actually phase the workload over that 10-year grid. First phase is what you see today. It's fixing our capacity at toll plazas and redoing the loop. Now the guests are going to be entering and exiting on one consistent loop. No more crisscross applesauce, which should not only make it a safer experience, but the entry and exit experience, the first thing that you experience when you come here and the last thing that you experience when you leave, is going to be much improved. So I'm hoping from a guest experience perspective, that's far improved. Then Pete's going to add a lot more attendance to the bucket, so we have to be ready with additional parking. And we have 2 incremental parking lots that will phase in over this next 10-year period that will add incremental parking spaces to the lot that you see. We're now one complex in everything that we do. When we talk about it, it's not about Splash Country parking and Dollywood's parking. It's one complex. And the Tram system that will activate in fall when Splash Country is closed will be an improved experience to get people from the Splash Country parking lot to our front door. So we know that that's going to be a big improvement to where we're going to go. And Wes and I kind of thought we'd do a wave, but you can't fix the front door of Toll Plaza and not be prepared to handle what's coming down the wave, right? Because when it crashes on the beach at our ticket windows, we have to really be ready to handle the speed at which people are going to be arriving at the front door. So we're really excited to be installing a new security system at our front door. The company's called Evolve. You probably would recognize Evolve being used in the NFL. So the Titans use this security system. You know how big of a stadium the Titans play in? They have 17 Evolve security systems to handle the entire stadium inbound traffic when people show up to the front door. It's incredible. What I like most about it, it's really smooth. No more unloading your pockets, unloading book bags, taking stuff out of the stroller if you're a parent. It's no more of that. You cruise right through. We tested it in December last year, and in one unit we had over 3,200 people pass through safely. That equaled the capacity that we had on all security system lanes operating at Dollywood before we made that transition. That's a game changer for us in terms of getting into the park because we think it'll add incremental value to our guests that are visiting.
So let me jump in. And so Wes talked about, and when we were in Splash Country, we talked a lot about listening to the guest, and Eugene used the word voice of the visitor. So if you step back 2 years when COVID started and we started to have to restrict things and really adjust how we were operating, I mean, you know, some of you will remember that we had literally hundreds and hundreds of operational changes as it based that were based in COVID. Well, we started listening to the guest, and we wanted to know what the hassles were, what issues they had when they were entering, what issues they had when they were exiting, what were the things that we could do better. And I mean, the last 2 years have been like a postgraduate course in guest experience for us. So the things that you're seeing, the new security system, the new parking, all of that goes to removing hassle factor from our guests. It's all about what they observed and how we can make their experience better. Because as Eugene said, we're welcoming more and more guests. when we were standing at Splash Country, he said last year was a record year for Dollywood. So if you put that in kind of context, we added Wildwood Grove in 19. That was a record year and a record attendance year. In 2020, we were attendance restricted because of COVID. We still made money. We were one of a handful of theme park complexes around the country that actually made money in 2020. In 2021, we were very successful. We set a record for what we were able to do to serve our guests in 2021, and we looked at that as a visioning to where we could be at the end of 10 years. And removing those hassles and the potholes that we have that our guests identified to us is very important, vitally important to us having a great guest experience. And that's what we're here to do, is to serve the guests.
Potholes, pun intended again.
Pun intended.
All right, any questions about any of the entry experience? Yes.
Do you know how many places you can park now? Like, what is the estimated number?
1,706 spaces on property. Okay. Obviously, there's people that come, visit the park, they leave. So it's obviously more spaces in a day because of turnover.
People ride the trolley in.
People ride the trolley.
Anyone else?
So, moving the booth back, mainly just added stacking space.
It allowed us a couple of things. It added stacking space, and it made it easier for people to find their lane. If you remember coming here on a Saturday, it was a hot mess coming around that corner, right? Where do I go? But now there's going to be more lane formation. And then it allow us to increase the capacity and also get a little bit of spread on where our ticket booths are from a toll plaza perspective. So it makes it more comfortable for our guests that are bringing in a little bit larger vehicles.
And remember, it's one lot. So it's not a Splash Country lot and a Dollywood lot. It's one lot. And so it's managed as one lot. And when we add the expansion lots, it will be one lot. And that's how it's managed. So a lot of thought, a lot of engineering went into how we would make these adjustments so that we remove pinch points, we remove cross points. We wanted it to be easier, faster, but also safer.
In your long-term 10-year plan, does this remain the main entrance?
Yes.
Anybody else?
How many more cars can you stack in here?
Well, it's 40% more.
40% more cars. How about I respond in the direct number of cars? I'll ask Lance. He'll know the number off the top of his head. My brain's too small for that, but I can get it to you. Let's just say it's significant.
For the theme park fans out there, are there different names coming to the lots, or the same thing?
Well, we tend to like Dolly's earrings, and we like those other things that you come to know and love about the park. A lot of those were homegrown. That's what parking supervisors started with, and when they trained their tram drivers, that's what it became. So those are going to remain the same.
So one of the key takeaways is they moved the toll booths, adding 2 more, increasing capacity as the park comes in, but they are swapping the tram and the pedestrian walkways and driveways, whatever. So now where the tram used to be, you walk. Where you used to walk, the tram is. They're trying to reduce the pinch points and crossover points, doing a great job here. So a lot more to look forward to. Let's go see what else they're doing here at Dollywood. Okay, we are now down here at the VIP parking entrance, the resort drop-off entrance, and we're gonna go inside Dollywood and check out and see what else going on there. But as we're even dropped off, there's something going on right here in this parking lot. Y'all check this out. They've been redoing all this, something in here, see? So there's construction everywhere, as you can see, going on. Now the very first thing I noticed getting out here is the tram buildings are gone. They're not here anymore. That green roof you used to see and right over here has You come in this VIP entrance, it's gone. Not sure how they're going to be changed. We might find that out. But hey, that is a big, big difference.
So that obviously is the exit experience for folks as they're going out. It's also where so many people are able to find their souvenirs for the day. So this experience, you'll see as you get in there, it's been completely redone. It looks really nice. And it kind of continues the theme of Show Street on into the Emporium, where everyone will be able to pick out what they want in terms of souvenirs, and then they'll come back out to board the trams. And you probably saw as we were coming in that the tram stop that was here has moved further out. So that opens up that guest entry experience, helps with the efficiencies coming in as well as going out.
No shopping, Sandy. No shopping.
Now this is completely different.
Looking pretty good, isn't it? They took all the old balconies off the old Silver Dollar City.
Welcome to the Emporium.
Reimagined. This is the largest revenue-producing retail shop, not only at Dollywood, but across our entire HFE company. And you think about the number of people that visit Dollywood Parks and Resorts, they all exit through this space. So this has been reimagined to make the shopping experience a lot better. All new floor fixtures and a whole new wall fixture assembly. More points of sale being added in a bank queue style location so that we'll be able to, at our busiest time, serve you faster. We also have added several mobile checkout sites that we'll be able to plug in on some of the walls. As we reach our Easter Sunday days and our really peak days, we're trying to make it more convenient to be able to serve the guests that want to buy. Huge photography that will be iconic along the old wall system that we've renovated. So I'm really excited about what this looks like. You're staring at 13,000 square feet of new tile that has been laid on the floor. And I think it really makes it a beautiful place. And there's an iconic butterfly element that will be added to the ceiling. And I'm sure that it's going to be Instagrammable for a lot of visitors that come into this space.
Any questions about the work here? And again, this is the main exit thoroughfare, so this goes to the efficiency of also moving folks out.
You think about in 67 days, the time that we closed to the time that we opened, we're redoing a lot of things. The speed at which things happen here is always very impressive to me. It's hard to grasp, really. And everyone always says, are you a bit nervous about everything that you're doing? And I never get nervous. I really don't. It's amazing the amount of work that we can do in a short amount of time. And it really just goes from good planning. We spend a lot of time talking about how we're going to get from point A to point Z. And I just get out of the way and let everyone go. And it all seems to come in on the end.
So any other questions? Any questions?
Wow, what a change to the Emporium. I mean, it looks nothing like it used to. And they're going to add a big butterfly here in the middle, like you heard them say. It's going to be a very Instagrammable moment. That is going to be amazing. But right now, we're headed to the front porch to get some lunch. So let's go check out some other stuff. One good thing Dollywood fans be glad to know is they have not changed the sign out here in front of the Palace Theater. So you still have your picture taken right here at the Dollywood sign. This is some amazing looking food here, y'all. Now, I kind of dabble in food just a little bit, in case you hadn't seen my other channel. But this is some really good looking stuff. Y'all check out this lunch they're serving us.
He has a pretty extensive history within the industry and at a number of very prestigious locations, Churchill Downs. He brings a great pedigree here to the park, and I think certainly over the last year and a half, you can see the quality of the food and what we've been able to provide, and that's all thanks to Aaron and the team that he's put together. Last year, we had Flower Food Festival in the spring for the very first time because due to COVID, we had to move it into the summer in 2020. But last year we had the event finished with the design to be held, which was a beautiful festival. But Aaron's team, the Flower Food Festival, food to make the park a component of that. His team really had to put a lot of effort into making sure that there were a lot of culinary options for guests. We did the Flower and Food Festival dining pass last season, which was the first for us. We have a lot of learning from that that we'll take into this year. But the food that you're eating, a lot of that is Flower and Food Festival themed. I think they'll have it this year. The event last year was able to be considered a new festival because of the time of year it was actually held in, which is the right time. So IAPA, which is the International Association of Amusement Parks and Attractions, which is the group in which most theme parks all along. Last year, they gave out a brass ring, which is their top award. It was a brand new award for them. It was the best new food festival for the year. And the Flower Food Festival here at Dollywood earned that award. So we're very proud of it. It's coming back again this year. You're sampling some of the items. So I want to ask Aaron just to kind of talk to you a minute about the inspiration that goes into what we do here. And then we'll have an opportunity for him to tell you about what you are sampling. And then we'll take a few questions. So last year I mentioned the Flower and Food Festival Pass. It was great in its first year. Tell us a little bit about some of the learnings you were able to take from that to put into this year's opportunity.
Wow, yeah, it was very popular. I did not expect for it to take off like it did. A lot of really good reviews from my guests in regards to it. What we learned from that is to expand it, to not just have it in one area, like in the Stroh Street area, but to have items throughout the park so guests can experience throughout the whole park and it's not in one area.
Tell us a little bit, and Chef Chris is over here, one of our executive chefs.
Yes.
I want to put him on the spot too, because he has a lot of influence in what you're eating as well. So between the two of you, talk a little bit about, we're in a very unique location in the Smokies. How do you take that inspiration and put that into the menus?
Lots of homework. Lots of homework. Understanding, I grew up in the South. I know Chef Chris grew up north. But just studying the region they're in and really knowing what Dollywood is about. What we do is when we have festivals or any type of event, we put like 70 ideas on a dry erase board. From that 70, we come down to 50. From that 50, we do testing. From the testing, we come to 30 and 35 items. Being able to work with one of the greatest chefs in the country, Chef Seabrook here, it makes my job much easier because he's doing all the cooking and developing, and I get to say, yeah, it's good, it's not. But Chef, you want to add to that?
Now, I'll be remiss if I didn't mention my partner who's here. He's on vacation. That's Chef Matt Foreman. He's the other half of our team. Just a little background on myself. I come from 26 years of hospitality, working for Marriott. So traveling around with them for their corporate division all throughout the U.S. So I lived the last 6 years in Georgia, where I'm originally from. I'm originally from the New York area, but I lived in Jersey most of my life. So from that, living in Georgia is where I kind of found my love for Southern cooking. I got into the smoking with meats, nice Southern cuisine, all the stuff, things that I kind of grew up with, but I did not really get the background of it until I actually moved further south. So those are kind of the things that I incorporate into the flavors here. So things that you try like the paella, you know, I do like Latin flavors, and I feel just bringing that out here, putting a little bit of spin on it, and giving you some of that Latin culture, some nice flavors, bold, robust flavors, will just actually help people see a different light of what we can actually do and accomplish here. All right, I don't want the Southern cuisine just to be in a box to, you know, barbecue, because there is so much more than just barbecue. We already do that here, so I want you to see what else that we can do and kick it up another notch. All right.
You want to talk about some of the other items that they're enjoying right now? Kind of inspiration behind those.
So we have a seafood. We have a seafood mac and cheese. All right, our seafood mac and cheese is actually smoked mac and cheese. I call it smoked because I take a little smoked Gouda that I grate within that mac and cheese, and then we actually have a little shrimp, and we have some jumbo lump crab meat that we toss in with it. Has a little seasoning of Old Bay, and then garnish with a little fresh parsley on top. Okay, the other one you tried was our Cuban, classic Cuban. Okay, with a little. I use the green mustard instead of the yellow mustard. So I use the green mustard on the ciabatta bun. On the Cuban bun, Cuban roll. All right, and from there I use a little Swiss cheese, some pickles. We have a ham and then a roast pork loin that I roast here myself that I season. We throw it in the smoker. Then we slice that up real nice, spread it on there, Swiss cheese, and top it off and cook it off. So those are some of the things. The mojo sauce is actually a blend of oil, white wine vinegar. It has some scallions, garlic, cilantro, parsley, lemon, lime, orange, salt, pepper.
We all enjoying what you're eating. It's really quiet.
A lot quieter right now than we're seeing.
Yes, for sure.
So, okay, as you're, continue to eat, we don't want to rush, but does anyone have a question for either Aaron or Chef Chris? Inspiration for the entire year. They can talk about some of the things they're looking toward. I don't think menus are set all the way to the end of the year, but they might be able to give you some ideas of what we're looking for. Any questions?
I would extend my compliments to our food festival, the addition of the food tastings, just as a season pass holder forever, and I love
Oh, thank you.
I'm excited to see what you guys are doing.
Yes. What was your favorite item last year?
Last year, I really liked to go to the waffle that had all the fun stuff. There was so many things I ate.
So, meat waffle.
Okay, but
Okay. Well, thank you so much.
What new dish are you most excited about this year? Festival or park-wise?
Oh, okay. Well, I think from me, from a festival perspective, the mac and cheese. Being from the South, love mac and cheese. And I'm really excited about that because I'm a little picky about it personally. But Chef Chris here has done a tremendous job of making sure we have good mac and cheese at Dollywood. So I'm really excited about that.
Are you bringing back the cold brew?
I'm sorry?
The cold brew that you served here?
We won't have it for Flower and Food, but we will reintroduce it in another festival for sure. Yes.
Good.
Other questions? Yes.
Is there a dish that you guys are excited about because you don't know if anybody's going to kick you as into it as you guys are?
Wow. There's a lot of dishes for me. I feel that way. But Chef Chris, you create a lot of good things here. So, what dish do you think?
I would say, I'm not being egotistical, but I do have confidence in them. No, I actually run into a test with my director, my staff, everybody. So before it even hits the crowd, it hits a lot of phases of tasting. So, and believe me, they're pretty bold in telling me whether they like it or not.
But it goes back to going to homework. We know where we are. We know our guests, what they want, and we do a lot of testing and research before we actually put any product out.
And again, like we said earlier, the work that they put into these menus and making sure they go along with each festival, which Cindy will talk about in a minute, the menus are always very cohesive. They go along with the theme of the festival. So the work that they put in, the tastings, it is a lot of work, but when you see the finished product, again, we mentioned the brass ring from last year's Flower and Food being the best new food event, it speaks to that. And again, it's the effort that they put into it, the unique taste that you're.
Thank you, Wes, and thank you everybody for coming out and braving what was happening this morning versus what's going on out there right now is amazing. Which is case in point, when we start to talk about the seasonality of the Great Smokies, if you don't like the weather, stick around, it will change. And so we just feel like every season here in the Smokies gives our guests a brand new reason to celebrate and to come into Dollywood at various times of the year. It gives us an opportunity to invite everyone out in multiple times throughout the year. So one of the things I'm really stoked about talking about today is our Flower and Food Festival. As Aaron and Wes talked earlier, it really debuted last year and had raving reviews. As you know, the food, you got to taste some of that, and is excellent, and that team just keeps outdoing themselves each time. But we thought it's time for that festival to expand its footprint inside the park. And so this year, we're thrilled to say this Flower and Food Festival extends up into Craftsman's Valley. So we will have 3 brand new mosaic culture pieces. And so if you were here last year, you may have experienced, they're like larger than life topiary type plant material that is kind of grown into a structure. And you'll see this guy here, he will be in front of our church. He's a giant peacock. And he's totally made of plant material that's clad onto a steel structure. So in addition to the peacock, we'll have a big mallard duck, and we'll also have a beekeeper with 5 honeybees going around him. There's a lot of popularity about the health benefits and the fun and delicious works that can be done with honey, and so we're celebrating that with a brand new mosaic culture piece. Also, we have a brand new outdoor show called Bloom, and it is a sway pole act. And you may, if you've been coming to Dollywood for a number of years, you may have experienced a different sway pole act with our groups that come to us from Australia. And this will happen over at Adventures in Imagination, totally outside show. It's very engaging and immersive. They, these sway pole artists are a bit comical, and they interact with our guests very well. And so we're thrilled to have them back for a brand new show called Bloom, tying directly into our Flower and Food Festival. And then lastly, we are working on a brand new concept with a company out of Montreal, Canada called Moment Factory to bring you Dolly's Butterfly Garden. And what this is a digital butterfly garden that's fully immersive and interactive. So I won't tell you much more about it than that because you really have to be a part of it and experience it live to really understand. But you will be engaging with butterflies in a new attraction called Dolly's Butterfly Garden, only here during Flower and Food Festival currently. And then, of course, all the garden-inspired treats that Aaron talked to you about, and award-winning now we can say. So that kind of rounds out what's new for our Flower and Food Festival. And I'll rush through this because I know we don't have a ton of time, but very new for this year is Smoky Mountain Summer Celebration. We wanted to find a way for guests to come out in the heat of summer and still have an incredibly fun time with their family. We're doing this in a way that brings summertime activities to life in a huge way inside the park. So if you imagine yourself on a summer road trip, we are going to take you on a visual and experiential summer road trip. So Dollywood guests will see things like a sky full of kites, literally hundreds of kites overhead in Show Street. Oodles of noodles, we're taking hundreds and hundreds of pool noodles and making a work of art with those up in the sky, and you can walk through those. We'll have America's largest bubble foam pit for kids of all ages, I'll say, can go in and play in this bubble foam that is just building up taller than they are. So it'll be a real fun experience. In the Market Square area, you're kind of seeing a rendering of it here. You're seeing the kite sky, and then this is a fountain made of water hoses. And it is 10 feet tall, and it will spray sporadically throughout the day, and then we'll have these pop-up entertainment moments where there's some interaction that happens with kind of a flash mob style of entertainment with this as the focal. And then lastly, there, as one of these road trip features, we have a fire hydrant over in Jukebox Junction that may or may not spray intermittently and get you wet throughout the day. And we think there's an opportunity for guests to play and have fun and get wet a little bit if the kids want to, a fun way to cool them off. And then we'll have backyard games. How many of you remember growing up and playing games in your backyard with your besties? I think that's a fun memory that we all have, and we wanted to bring that to life here in the park because we think a lot of people have just not had a chance to really get out and play much, and we want everybody and encourage everyone to come out and play in our backyard here at Dollywood. So, and let me see. Oh, can't forget this. I don't know how many of you experienced the drone show last year. So we had a new production last year called Sweet Summer Nights. It started with a fabulous, fun dance party that kind of segued the guest daytime experience into the night because it stays daylight for a long time in our summers here, so we had to find a way to keep the guests interested, and so we had this fun dance party and then a huge drone light show in the air. And you're seeing an image here beside me of, this is 500 drones in the sky. And so this is a totally custom show that we built. And we're coming back with this concept bigger and better this year. So Sweet Summer Nights is coming back for summer. Harvest Festival. You're seeing Harvest Festival on the end depicted here, a giant owl. And as you know, a huge feature of Harvest Festival is Great Pumpkin Luminites. This year, Great Pumpkin Luminites will deliver a brand new area called Hoot Owl Hollow. And stay tuned for more information on that, but it's all about owls. We will have over 500 owls in this area made of pumpkins of all sizes. So I think guests of all ages, again, will very much enjoy that. It's a brand new approach and something we haven't really done before with Great Pumpkin Luminites. So we're eager to have you come out to see that. And then as you know, our Christmas, nothing's bigger and more fun and warm than a Dollywood Christmas. So Smoky Mountain Christmas this year, we really believe we will have 30% more lights. All of our garlands and wreaths were lit. We were speaking with our president last year, and he said, man, what can we do? We're winning awards. We have America's Best Christmas event. What can we do? And he challenged us. And so we came out and said, we're gonna make sure that every wreath and every garland is lit in the park. So it's gonna doing that and adding all of that additional decor will really heighten the daytime experience as well as the nighttime. So any questions about what's happening at Dollywood this year, seasonally?
Will the chalk art be back?
The chalk art will be back for Flair on Food Festival. I know you were a big fan of that last year.
Oh, a big fan.
Yeah.
I was stalking her.
Well, thank you for your interest and your love of Jamie's art is amazing, and so thank you very much. Yes, it'll be back.
Yay.
And thank you for helping me remember to say that. Also back for summer, I did leave something off, Wes. Gazillion Bubbles. I don't know how many of you have seen Gazillion Bubbles. It's coming back this summer to be a part of our summer celebration. So we're thrilled to have that show. It's a great opportunity for guests to get inside for a few minutes just to cool off and really be entertained. It does entertain multi-generational families, and so we're thrilled to have that group back.
Well, we just had a great lunch with some great information. Now we're going to check out some more construction stuff. Come on.
What to keep. And, you know, sometimes it's a pretty simple decision, you know, based on safety. I've learned in a short amount of time living in Tennessee, you know, the mountains slide a little bit. And last year during one of our heavy rainstorms, the mud on that hill over there slid off and butted into the structure of the old tunnel that used to be a part of the original concept here when we opened as Silver Dollar City, Tennessee. And the structure became too unstable for me to be able to keep, so made the intentional steps to go ahead and take the structure down and set our sights on something that we've concentrated a lot on, and that's creating a little bit more room on grounds for people to be able to take advantage of spending time together. You heard Pete mention making memories worth repeating, and it's really a fortifying family visit when somebody comes here and spends time together as a family. The train happens to be the #1 sought after ride in the entire park. And what we're doing with the tunnel gone, we're going to create a nice seating area and a great viewing area for the train to come along. We're planting more than 40 trees on the hillside, create a lot of greenery. But like you heard me mention a long time today, it's a brand evolution. It takes a little time to make these things sprout and grow seeds. A few other things we can't get to because of the morning rain. There's a pizza place just located across from the train that we've renovated. Totally took it all the way down to studs, really advanced the size of what the unit is going to be able to produce. Speed of service is always a real issue for our culinary team, and to be honest with you, it's going to be a much improved environment for the staff to be able to work in. It won't be as frustrating because they want to serve you as quickly as possible, but if we haven't given them the right tools, it makes it a little bit of an unrepeatable experience for our own host. It has an awesome deck overlooking Country Fair, so a lot more expanded seating ground. What's the new name?
Iron Horse Pizza.
I know that's shocking, right, being next to the train, but that's what it's going to be called, and hopefully it'll be an underpinning of our future. And there's big plans from an expansion perspective along this entire corridor. Those that were on the tour last year heard me talk about one of the buildings being chopped off to create a little bit more space. And you might have heard me mention that we were going to advance up the hill towards Craftsman's Valley and do the same thing. And we've done that. So when you come back to the park and see us on opening day, you'll be able to see that we've advanced our path widening up Craftsman's Valley. And now the American Eagle show that was a hidden gem for us is now very visible, and it'll be a feature experience, a part of the Craftsman's Valley. And I really appreciate all of the time and energy that you guys have committed to being here and spreading the word. It's funny you talk about this as an off-capital year, and it doesn't really feel like that when you sort of line up and start to talk about all of the different things that the team is trying to accomplish, here on property in such a short amount of time, and it makes me really proud, to be able to work alongside them. I think Pete and I are going to be available for private interviews if there's any need for more information that we haven't asked or answered, and you want to probe a little bit more. We'll be happy to make ourselves available for that.
So what we'll do, so while we're here, we wanted you to see the tunnel and its removal. Eugene spoke to that. Also, Iron Horse Pizza is through the trees where Victoria's Pizza was. And then behind us, right here, is where the Christmas cottage was. That's now going to be another pathway to access this side toward Owen's Farm. And it goes back to what Eugene and Pete have been talking about, listening to our guests, looking for efficiencies and the things that we can do to improve their experience here.
As you can see, the tunnel is gone, and well, you heard why. It wasn't that they wanted to, it's that they had to. So the tunnel's gone, and it's completely different through there now. So that's going to be a completely different look.
Let's hear from the park itself.
If you're familiar with this area, there's the old grist mill. If you come down here, you notice there's a building missing. Their Christmas cottage is now gone. And they've actually made some more pathways through here. As you can see, this is a brand new pathway through here. Kind of get up to this area. Now Victoria's Pizza, which used to be Victoria's Pizza, is now going to be Iron Horse Pizza. So they're completely redoing that area. As you see, the tunnel's gone, Christmas cottage is gone. There's a lot going on here at Dollywood. And now they have some goodies for us. Let's go see what they have here for us. Hey ladies.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing wonderful. How are y'all today?
Great. Good.
There's some delicious looking stuff in here.
Orange raspberry cupcake for
Chocolate orange raspberry. It's like I need to go to church on Sunday after eating that. Be forgiven for my sins. That sounds good.
Yeah.
Them cookies look really good too. I'm gonna try one of these out. I'm just gonna have to.
Even better than it looks.
Even better than it looks, she said.
Yes.
Wow, a lot is going on here at Dollywood. I mean, the tunnel is gone, and now we know why. Victoria's Pizza, we didn't get a good look at it, but we heard there's a deck overlooking Country Fair and all kinds of great things going on. Name change. Iron Horse is no longer Victoria's. So there's a lot going on here. You seen the Christmas Cottage is gone. We had a lot of great information about the different festivals, had an amazing lunch. What'd y'all like about the lunch? What food was good?
I'm still tasting like green mayonnaise that they had with that. It had a kick to it.
The mojo.
I'm still tasting it. Oh, it was amazing.
That was some good sauce. I gotta learn how to make that.
Yeah, me too.
That was really good.
I had that on my notes. I'm like, I want to learn to make this.
Now, I am really impressed the way you can actually see everything now that the Christmas Cottage is gone and you can overlook that whole area now. That is really beautiful up there. I cannot wait to Christmas time to see that.
Wow.
The lights up there is going to look amazing. So there's a lot going on here at Dollywood. This video is long, but there's a lot of information packed into it. Now, there is another video I have done that covers what's going on at Splash Country and Heart Song Resort. So if you'd like to, go check that video out. But that's going to do it here at Dollywood today. Hope you enjoyed it. Oh, and by the way, if you haven't already, go down there and check out Adventures at Rock. They got some amazing videos. So the link down there is below. My TikToks are down there below. All that's in Linktree. Go down and check it all out. And thank you for hanging with the Crazy Crew.